Hello, welcome to News Labour Sports. My name is Moses Echodu, and of course, I'm joined by Creed Mugabe, the usual suspect. And we're going to be discussing nothing but the very best of sports here on News Labour Sports. And of course, like I always say, when you want everything concerning sports, just log on to www.newslabour.sports, and you'll get all the sporting stories. And of course, some stories written by me, some stories written by Creed, and we'll give you all the highlights, all the analysis that we can be able to give.
You push me around for articles. It's okay.
That's a story for another day. That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But of course, at the end of the day, we have to grow.
Exactly.
Have to progress. We come into today's episode, Creed, and one of the things that I've realized is, and that I'm trying to ask is, how is the sports fraternity going to manage the whole coronavirus situation? Because as we speak, football is getting cancelled, or what the Americans call soccer. Then you have rugby as well is being cancelled, and also in European countries. For those of you who follow the International Rugby League, the Six Nations, things like that. Then of course you have basketball, which just today getting cancelled because one of the Utah Jazz players, Ruba Gube, it was the preliminary test showed that he had coronavirus. And that was just before they were set to play the Oklahoma City Thunders. But looking at all this, how do you think the sports world should be able to manage having their sports activities while fighting coronavirus?
Well, I think on Monday, the Italian Prime Minister, that's Giuseppe Conte, when he came through and talked about the whole situation and then suspended all the sporting events in Italy, to me, I think that's the first move. First of all, however much we love sports, we love football, but health comes first. So I think it's really a good thing to suspend some of these sports. But my only worry is, when you look at the suspension, I should say, and how it's going to be a different ball game, of course. But I mean, how are the leagues going to react to it? What are they going to do? For example, the FA, then of course in Italy as well. Because I've been reading some article about the Serie A, where they have three options. Either to give out the title right now, and of course teams will get relegated depending on the current table right now, or to play the playoffs for the title, as well to just leave the way that the table is, and then of course no team will be relegated and stuff like that. And to me, I think always are really unfair to me, because when you look at that first option that they're considering, I mean, to give out the title and then teams will get relegated, I'm looking at the race between Juventus and the second team
Italian,
should be
Lazio.
It should, Lazio. It should be Lazio in Italy, because when you look at the difference between the two teams, it's only 1 point. So that means if the league is going to get suspended and they give out the title, at least they are taking away that opportunity for
probably we could have a playoff between the two.
Maybe it can, but it won't really be that interesting.
But then you look at Juventus, if they are to have a playoff, Cristiano Ronaldo has already talked about how he's not going to return to Juventus because of the coronavirus that was discovered from his teammate Daniel Rugani. So that would again put everything in jeopardy. So there's a lot of technicalities.
And I think it's really unfair because Napoli is second, right?
It's Lazio.
Lazio, because they haven't won a title in 20 years.
20 years. And this season looked like the season that they were going to win the title.
Exactly. So that's the reason why I feel it's really unfair.
Of course, it's only unfair in England, where Liverpool are 22 points far away from Manchester City.
It's really fair. And of course, I'm looking at the last team.
But of course, for Manchester United fans and Arsenal fans, they would want this to not even be suspended but cancelled. So that would mean Liverpool don't win the title.
Especially Man United fans. I mean, the hatred they have for Liverpool. So that's like a good opportunity for them to smile. I mean, yesterday they were really happy simply because Atletico Madrid knocked out Liverpool. So that's another opportunity for them to earn that smile.
I mean, you've hinted on something that I wanted us to discuss. But before we get there, I just want our viewers to know that the McLaren in Formula One decided to pull out today because one of their team members who yesterday was suspected to have coronavirus has actually primarily tested to be positive of the virus. So there is all that storm that is also brewing in Formula One. Will we have a race where we are short of one team, that being McLaren, or will we have the FIA coming to completely suspend Formula One.
Are you waiting for a FIFA statement?
But that's a tricky one because Uganda we don't even have any scenarios. But getting into the topic you spoke about, right into it, Champions League sports, Liverpool yesterday getting knackered and beaten in their own backyard at Anfield. Remember the statement that Robertson made after their first defeat at Metropolitan? He said they will come to Anfield, then they will know. But I mean, yesterday, Liverpool in the first half, absolutely incredible.
Exactly.
In the second half, they looked comfortable to me. They looked comfortable. They looked comfortable with that first goal, and that is where I have a problem. Do you think they could have done better, or Atletico Madrid were just too organized for them?
I think just in a nutshell, when you look at these other big matches, especially in the Champions League, to me I think what Atletico Madrid exhibited yesterday reflects the 9 years that Diego Simeone has been at the team.
Yeah.
Because if you know what Diego Simeone does, I mean, he doesn't need 11 superstars to be on a team for him to win titles. He picks out, he singles out a particular player and builds the team around that particular player. Because I'll give you an example. I remember it should have been the first season when he joined Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
When you look at the players that he singled out to build that team, you'll talk about the strong centre backs, Miranda and Godin. Yeah. Then, of course, talking about the midfielders in the likes of Gabi, then Mario Suarez, then Falcao up front. Yeah. That's all he needed. Yeah. And he got the results for them. So getting to this game, I think I saw that project that he has been building. Play good defense, but as well have that ability to attack.
The counter-attacking football.
Exactly.
The fluidity of that counter-attack for me goes a lot of miles. Because I saw what Jurgen Klopp said after the game. I saw what Mike Owen as well said that after the game. He said, with all the quality of players that you have in your team, why sit back? And for me, my question is, that is the tactic they've come with. Exactly. They have decided to sit back. But when they chose to come and attack you, you had no answers for the questions that they were asking.
Yeah, and I don't really want to look at it from that perspective, that sitting back, because it's different. You can sit back without a plan. Yeah. You can sit back with a plan. Now, for Atletico, this is something they have done for what? For the past 9 years. Yes. They have done this. They sit back, but still they can attack. So that's the only difference between teams that opt to sit at the back without doing anything, soaking in pressure. And they actually, most teams where they sit at the back, they actually make very many mistakes. But Atletico, they are really organized and they have that ability to just switch on and attack.
We need to talk about something. Yeah. Liverpool's brand of football. Yeah. It's more like cross the ball and hopefully someone will tap it in. Hopefully someone will jump on it. And Atletico Madrid realized that, and you see that they tried so much to limit the number of times the likes of Robertson, Antred, and Alexander-Arnold were having the ball.
Yeah, true. And I think that tactic to me was really wrong, because I know that Ronaldo actually scored from a cross, a Chamberlain's cross, but
the same goes for Firmino's goal.
Exactly, but after that they tried very many times and it wasn't working out. But the times I saw that combination between Firmino and Salah passing that ball without crossing it in, at least you could tell that the Atletico defense was
organized and read the game.
Exactly, it was organized, but still you could tell if Liverpool were fast enough or quick enough, they would have created those spaces. I've made use of them. But this aspect of crossing in the ball, I don't really think it was really a good idea for them.
Okay, of course, the other game being in Paris, where they played in an empty stadium.
To me, it was really boring. But anyway, maybe because of
the fans. And at the end of the day, it's all about protecting your players and also the fans. But of course, when you talk about protecting the fans, at the end of the day, we saw so many fans outside the Paris Saint-Germain stadium
celebrating
and chanting and celebrating, trying basically as much as possible to let their players know that they are outside and giving them the kind of support. And France, we know, is also one of those countries that has been really hit by coronavirus.
We've talked about something really interesting. I mean, the fans were out chanting. Isn't that more dangerous?
It is. I mean, for the fans, it is.
So that means it's typically the same thing as the fans getting into the stadium.
Yes. I mean, the same could be said about the game between Valencia and Atlanta. And so many fans were outside the Mestalla Stadium, but no fans were allowed in it. But the one thing that Valencia did was they had the sound of fans chanting, playing throughout the game, and of course that offers players a little bit of that soul boost. Some one of the commenters said, without the fans, it's like living without a soul. because the fans are probably the soul of the game.
Actually, they had a fan in the stadium. I'm forgetting the name of that immortalized fan.
The immortalized fan. I keep forgetting the name as well. He died. He was a blind man, but who kept going to to every single Valencia game. Exactly. That just talks about spirit, really. We've spoken about football, and I can't go without mentioning Atalanta for me. Absolutely one of the best teams at the moment, because when you go to Italy, they have scored probably the highest number of goals.
Exactly.
They have scored about 74 goals this campaign in the Italian Serie A. When you look at the game they played against, the games they played against Valencia, the first game they scored 4 goals. The second game they again scored 4 goals. And that is how brilliant Gasperini has set up his team, and Ilicic continues to be such a mesmerizing player.
But I think, to me, I'm not trying to throw their efforts out of the window, but Valencia actually made it very easy for them. First of all, they showed a little bit of character in terms of attacking, creating those chances, and they scored goals. But the issue is, if you're a team that concedes goals, it makes no sense scoring goals. And that's what Valencia was doing.
Score goals,
concede goals. You could see what Diakabi was doing. 2 mistakes from him, and they conceded goals, the penalty, and then that reckless tackle, the handball, and all those were spot kicks that were converted. So I think that it's a team that has scored very many goals, but it was really easy for them to play against Valencia, because if you're playing against a team that has scored 70 plus goals and your defense is shaky, what do you expect? 4 goals.
I mean, you spoken about leaky defenses. Who will jump back into North London? Tottenham Hotspurs. Tottenham Hotspurs. Completely washed by RB Leipzig. Nagelsmann and his boys just seem to have found a way to play in the Champions League, even when they seem to have lost that kind of momentum in the Bundesliga.
And getting into that game, actually, when you look at the domestic matches between these two teams, they were seemingly in the same shape, but for Spurs it was in a more worse shape. Because I mean, I'm looking at the 3 out of the last 4 matches they have lost in 90 minutes. Then of course Norwich knocking them out of FA Cup, and then for Leipzig those 2 draws that initially they surrendered their top spot to Bayern Munich, so they were struggling. So, but getting into that match, I looked at Spurs. I think that you can't really tell what Mourinho wants to play, because he changed that formation to a 3-4-2-1 formation, whereby you could tell that Spurs wanted to press, but they were not pressing as a unit. And that was leaving a big space like between the players up front and the midfield. The defense was really exposed. And these were 3 defenders. We are talking about Tanganga, Vatogen as well, and forgetting the man who played at the heart of defense, Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer. In there, you could really tell that they were clueless. They didn't have that sort of cohesion, even in terms of converting and even attacking. And to me, I think it's, that we would like to blame Jose Mourinho, but I would like to blame the players, because we are getting in a situation whereby your key players are out. But what do you do if your key players are out?
How do you respond?
Exactly. You have the likes of Dele Alli. These are players that need to step up for the team, because if the key players are out, get one player who has that trait of leadership to lead this team. Because you're getting into a tie whereby you already conceded goals. I'll just give you an example. When you look at the way Liverpool played, that's how teams are supposed to play when you're down. Attack, show character, be aggressive, show that what, this tie isn't really over. But you look at North London, silent and cold.
Well, that's of course how North London is supposed to be, the booming city, the noise-making city. But with all that is happening at Arsenal, with all that is happening at Tottenham Hotspurs, they seem to be really hit by the sound of silence. And
but Leipzig was also a better team, by the way.
Leipzig was a better team. They were more organized.
Exactly.
They play very fast brand of football. And Nagelsmann has a system that he organizes. You move as a unit of 3, and you can see that system actually did help them to break down Tottenham Hotspurs. And we can even talk about how under Jose Mourinho, these players seem to be lacking that element of momentum. They seem to be lacking the confidence and the zeal. And if you do not have those elements in the team, they're always going to suffer against any opponent around the world.
And it's actually good you've talked about the three players, how they attack and stuff, because I looked at that 3-4-2 formation for Leipzig, and you could tell that the three players that were up front, their chemistry was top-notch. And actually in exchanging responsibilities, finding those spaces, because you look at the likes of Patrick in there up front, then of course the likes of Wana, and then Kunku in there. Man, you look at this team and you can't stop mentioning
you can't stop mentioning the stars.
And you look at even their defense, it wasn't really bothered by Del Ali or Lucas Moura. You look at the two strong centre backs in there. So I think that Leipzig just had fun, had a party in North London.
Right. Of course, the game was played in Germany, but nonetheless, all the teams from North London, what's happening? Arsenal is almost battling relegation. So that's a story for another day. We'll have a special edition talk about Arsenal and why we think their problems are not actually solved as many would have thought them to be. As we conclude, the NBA season has been suspended as a way to see what they'll come up with, because like we said earlier on at the beginning of the show, Rudy Gobert, who is the best defensive player in the season, so in the NBA at the moment, was found to be positive, and that made sure that, of course, forced the NBA Association to be able to pull down the season and suspend it until further notice. Finally, Craig, Steven Gerrard at Rangers, it seems like things are not as rosy as they used to be.
Yeah, and okay, you know teams have different traditions. Some teams, they get your success depending on what you're doing domestically. Now, when you look at Rangers, they are making good noise in Europe, but then domestically they're not doing anything. Because after a bunch of about like 25 games, you could think that this was a team that was going to give Celtics a run for its money. That time when they beat up Celtics, I think it was in December, that was the first loss for Celtics. You could think that at least we are going to watch some sort of competitive season. But what happened after that?
Why are you over coughing? You have coronavirus.
Coronavirus. After beating up on Celtics, they dropped a bunch of points in there. I remember they lost twice to Hearts. They lost to Kilmarnock as well. The likes of Hamilton in there, not the driver. The team in Scotland.
By the way, yes, there's a team in Scotland called Hamilton, so don't think it's Lewis Hamilton.
So everything really seems to go south for them in the Scottish League, and in Europe they're really doing good. They had a great game against Braga, but yet again I think that when we thought that they had some sort of depth and talent in there, this is a time when they need that, but domestically it's not really working out.
Because I remember to be giving the trophy to Celtics.
Exactly, they've already done that. Because you look at the gap between Rangers and Celtics, a bunch of 13 points.
That's a huge difference.
And by the time 2019 ended, at least you could tell that forgetting their star player Amarelos actually scored 28 goals in 35 games.
But he has gone on a drought.
8 games without scoring. And they're not really getting the results that they need. So for me, I think that Rangers can make so much noise in Europe, but if they don't find ways of arresting some consistency at home, it's going to be the same thing. No one will see the good things that Gerrard is doing in Europe.
Of course, and like we always say, there are teams that just never appreciate what you do on the bigger stages, but they'll always appreciate what you do in your own backyard, and that is Rangers for you. As we come to the conclusion of this show, the big question we are asking you is, what's happening at Anfield? Is it suddenly that everyone has realized what we have always known, that this season Liverpool have actually not been as good as they were in the 2018-2019 season? After that beating from Atletico Madrid, they went on a 3-game losing streak. They went and picked a Bournemouth that are already languishing at the bottom of the table, beat them up, and they felt that they had come back. And the Atletico Madrid returned this week.
Does that mean the other 19 teams in England, they're crap? Because if Liverpool is not as good as they were the previous season, then how about the 19 teams?
Truth be told, the rest of the 19 teams have actually been very, very poor. You look at Manchester City, the injury that they got for Laporte really pushed them off. You look at Manchester United, been really off the park for 2 years now. You look at Chelsea, they were in that rebuilding phase, and more so given the fact that they had that transfer ban.
Don't talk about the boys in North London.
There's definitely no need to talk about Tottenham Hotspurs. They got into the Champions League final, thought they had arrived. Suddenly, where are they? Nowhere to be seen. We can't talk about Arsenal. They are fighting relegation. Wolves have actually been a much better team, together with Sheffield United. Who would have thought that those two teams would be the ones really pushing the boundaries? Of course, Leicester City, under Brendan Rodgers, getting themselves back into the Champions League conversation. Of course, from me, Moses Echodu, and the entire team at News Labor, together with Creed Mugari, we're saying thank you so much. Until next time, peace and love.